Okay, today's video, let's just talk about Uptime Kuma. So if you're someone who's just looking for like a monitoring tool, open source monitoring tool to monitor your container or server, or maybe like the container that is running in cloud, that is where you can use Uptime Kuma. You can go for options like Datadog or maybe Norlake. If you want to go for a paid option, you can go for Grafana if you are looking for an open source. But the problem is like Grafana is too heavy, in my opinion, I would say. But if you just want like a monitoring tool that kind of like notifies you if your server or the container that is running in your server is down, something really light and straightforward, that is where Uptime Kuma shines. So let's just check the repository like we always do, just to get an overview about the project, if it is well maintained or if it is just an abandoned one or not. And if you're someone who's been doing home lab and stuff and who's been just trying to explore all the open source projects out there, you might have probably come across Uptime Kuma before. And yeah, but if you are like first time looking out for monitoring tools, then you can go ahead and watch the rest of the video. If you know Uptime Kuma, also just watch the rest of the video and let me know if I'm making any mistakes. All right, so I just want to tackle this person, Louis Islam. I hope I'm pronouncing the name right. If you're watching this video, if you happen to watch this video, shout out to you for making this amazing product. And on the right, you can see all the information like the fork, which is about 7K. Amazing numbers. Star, again, about 8K. I have nothing to say about that. And scrolling down, you can see when was the last release. It was on March 10th, 2.2.1 version. And if you're looking at the commits made, you can see the latest one to be like 5 days ago, which was related to Docker. And you can see the sponsors and also the contributors. The numbers are growing. It's about 900. And if you want to be one of the contributors, you'll find some issues that is bugging you, which has not been raised before. And if you have like a fix in place to contribute to this project, because it will help a lot of them depending on Uptime Kuma. Anyway, scrolling down, you can see like the documentation page, and you get like a quick sneak peek into how the dashboard looks like. This one is in dark mode. And scroll down again, you can see a link to the live demo, which we will be looking at later, and also the features. The one that I'm really interested in is the notification, which you can channel through either Telegram, Discord, Slack, pushover, email, and all those. And you can see how to install using Docker Compose. In case if you're someone who has no idea about what Docker is, I've done a video about it, which I will link somewhere at the top. You can watch and get an idea about what Docker is and why should someone use Docker. Okay, and again, the command to run the Docker containers. And scroll down, if you're someone who's not using Docker, these are the steps you need to follow. But we are a Docker gang, right? We will be using Docker because I feel like that is the recommended and actual way of using open source, or let it be any software in your container, because that is more safe and less prone to errors. Okay, and when you scroll down more, you can see all the sponsors. Cool people, thanks for sponsoring this amazing project. And towards the end, you can see a couple screenshots how the Uptime Kuma looks like in light mode, which we won't be using because that's what Batman said in Dark Knight, right? That's a comment black, because we always want dark mode, because I don't want to ruin my eyes. And in here you can see like how it looks in Telegram, when it notifies you because your server went down or your container went down, and also the motivation for the person to create Uptime Kuma. And these are like the discussions and all that. Okay, that's that. Let's just visit the website and see what we got there. So going to the website is just straight to the point, nothing fancy, no animation, no gimmicks, just straight to the point. You want talks or you want live demo? Let's just click on live demo and see what that gives you. So you get like 10 minutes in which you can like set this up and check it out. So we have like the language. You can pick the language of your choice. We got a couple options here, and I'm gonna go with English as a default. And you can pick your database. I'm gonna go with SQLite. Just click on next, and you need to just wait for a couple seconds, and we are here. You can give you the username. I'm gonna give like RCChan. Okay, sorry, RCChan. Give your password. Okay, so let's just create our dashboard. Let's say it's added successfully. Let's just close this up. And this is how the dashboard looks like. We have multiple options. It says up, down, maintenance, unknown, and pause. You can add the monitor over here. When you click on it, you get an option to add the monitoring. And we have like different types that it supports. HTTPS, we have DCP port, we have ping monitor, DNS, Docker container. We will be probably using Docker container towards the end of the video. We'll be trying to monitor the containers that are running in my personal server, or else you can have like HTTPS monitoring in place where you can add a URL, and the Uptime Kuma will be trying to ping the URL in the given interval over here. Right now it's just 60 seconds. I can give like 10 seconds, so every 10 seconds it just pings the URL just to make sure it returns 200. Okay, success. So when it returns 400 or 500, it just marks it as like a warning, or just notifies us in the channel that we have mentioned. It can be Slack, Telegram, or whatever. We have like a retry option and timeout options, and resend notification if it is down consecutively, mentioned over here. And we have a bunch of other options as well, which we will be taking a look at later. So let me just quickly add a URL, and let's just let me just give you an idea about how it looks like. So for that, I'm gonna go with Screen Glow. Let's just go with the Screen Glow Small Tool Pro, which is like a simple screenshot beautifier tool that I built. And I can give the URL over here, and the heartbeat interval, I'm gonna give it like 10 seconds. I'm just gonna keep all these as it is. And we can also keep like a certificate expire notification, so it just checks if the certification is in place, and if it expires, it just notifies us too. But let's just skip all these spots and just keep it as default. And I can click on save. Okay, I'm gonna ignore the warning and just click on yes. So it's you can see like the green over here, which means it was successful. It tried to access this particular link and it just returned 200, and that's the reason why we are getting all the green. So in case if it returned, let's say 400 or 500, it was not able to access the link or get a success response, it will be marked as red. And when it's marked as red, we can also configure a way to notify us either through Slack or Telegram, which we will get into the later part of the video. But now let's just focus on how we can set this up in our server. Okay, back to the terminal where we actually cook things. And to get started, let me quickly SSH to my server. I'm using this IP because we are on the same local network. Anyway, if you really want to know more about how you can convert your personal laptop into a server, this is my old laptop that I SSH into. Check out my video, which I will link somewhere in the top, and you can convert your old laptop into a personal server too, where you can host open source software and a lot more things. So getting started, let me just create a directory so we have like everything in order. Uptime Kuma. Okay, so we are inside the directory, and when I realize there's nothing inside the directory. Okay, so going back to the repository, we can see we can follow this method that is provided in their repository by downloading this one YAML file, which is basically Docker Compose YAML file. But the thing is, what this one does is if you just copy this, you can access this is one over here. This is like a simple YAML file. The issue with this one is, there's no real issue, but the thing is, if I'm setting up my Uptime Kuma like this, the Docker containers will be monitored based on their HTTP, so it will just try to ping the Docker using its IP and port and see if it returns 200 or not. But that is not what I want to do, right? I want to basically give Kuma some kind of admin access to Docker, so it just can see containers, check if they're running or not, and monitor the status. And to do that, if I go to my repository, I have created this simple Docker Compose file where I have added this one particular line which exactly does what we want. This one gives like an admin access to Uptime Kuma, so that Uptime Kuma can go and check if the containers are actually running and also monitor the status of it. So that is the reason why I have this simple Docker compose file, which I will be using inside my server. And for that, if you come over here, all you need to do is just run this one particular line. I will post a link to the repo in the comments so you just can, check that out. So once I'm in the server, all I need to do is just run this. And if I do an ls, I can see my Docker compose file over here. And let me just show it for you all. So this is what it is, okay? And if you want to get like a quick idea about what these things are, this one is definitely the name of the container that we are going to spin up, and it will be accessing this Lusalam Uptime Kuma image version 2, and the container name is going to be Uptime Kuma, and the restart is going to be obvious. So in case if the container crashes, it will like spin up on its own, or let's say if the server got stopped for some reason and we started the server, the container automatically gets restarted. You don't have to like access the VM and spin up the container again. And this one is port, self-explanatory, and these are the volumes, which will have like the history, config, and all that kind of details. And this one, like I explained before, which is to detect containers and give Kuma basically like kind of like an admin access, which makes sense if you have like a home server and you want the Docker to be monitored. Once that is out of the way, all we need to do right now is just compose up the task. This one is going to take maybe less than 5 minutes because it just needs to download all the files. Let's just wait for that. Once you are done with that, now we have successfully just pull all the required files and spun up the container. We can check if the container is up or not by doing a docker ps, and we have Uptime Kuma. Okay, so it is up and running, and that is in port 3001. Let me just 192. And this is our URL, and we have the welcome page, which is similar to what we saw in the demo. Multiple languages that you can pick from. I'm gonna go with English, and you can choose the DB you want of your choice. You can go with SQLite if you have like a simple database file. If your monitoring scale is just not that much, not a huge scale, you can go with this one. We have MariaDB, MySQL, where you have like hosted it separately and you want to connect that to your Uptime Kuma, you can have that, all the details over here. If you want the embedded MariaDB, which comes along with the Docker image that we have. But for this purpose, let's just go with SQLite. I think I don't really have that many containers running in my home server, and I feel like for most of the cases, SQLite will be just more than enough. So setting up the database. Okay, I can give a username. Go with RSHN. Currently, we are here in the dashboard, which is very similar to what we saw in the demo. Almost, pretty, I would say it's just exactly the same. We have new monitor option here. We have dashboard, and this one is like my profile option. I have like maintenance settings, logout, up, and all that. Okay, let's just start off by creating a new monitor. Click over here. We have monitoring types. We can keep it either HTTP, but we can go with Docker container. Okay, so if I'm just going with HTTP, then I have to mention my IP over here along with the port. So what it does is it just pings the IP and check if the Docker is up or not, which is not what I want. I want my Uptime Kuma to have access to Docker, like a super admin, and check if the Docker is up or not. And for that, all you need to do is just go, for the Docker option here, and just give it a name. I'm gonna give image sleeping, just like the recommended one. That is because I had this thing set up before. Okay, and we need to get the container name. So once you go back, you type in docker ps, you get all the container information right. And if you are looking over here, the names, you can see the ones. And I'm gonna set up a monitor for my image server. So this is the name that I'm looking for. I need to put my name over here. And the Docker host, this is really important. Just click on plus and keep all the values as it is. This is like the same value which we provided in our compose file, and give it a friendly name. I'm saying find container. You can test it. So this one gives like all the available containers in my server, which is 5, and I'm gonna save. Once I'm done with that, I can check on my heartbeat interval. I'm gonna give it like 10 seconds for now, which is not recommended if you are setting this up. Maybe just keep it like 30 minutes or so, but this one is for demo purpose. I want everything to be real quick so I can show you how things are done. And for this purpose, I'm gonna keep it 10 seconds, and think that's it. I'm definitely gonna get a warning saying I'm not supposed to keep it for 10 seconds. Okay, I get it. I'm gonna hit confirm. Okay, the first thing is red because the the Docker container, I've stopped it for demo purpose again. Let me just spin it up. Server. And this one is going to turn into yellow, which says pending. And after 3 or 4 blocks, this one will turn to green. Okay, so the container needs some time to be up and running, to be healthy. So that's the reason why it's taking some time. Okay, 3rd block. Hopefully 4th or 5th block is gonna be green. Okay, we started getting green, and we also have this little graph kind of thing over here, which gives us an overview of how long it was up, how long it was down, and how long it was in pending state, and all of that. I mean, this is really cool, but we won't be having the dashboard open forever, right? So we want to have like a way where it notifies us through Telegram, Slack, or whatever available option whenever our container goes down. And we do have that option. If you go over edit, you can see like a setup notification here. We can set up a Telegram. Okay, Telegram friendly name. I just can keep it like DG Naughty, and we need a bot token. So if you didn't know how to create Telegram bot, I will show you real quick. All you need to do is just go to BotFather and click on start. So these are the different options we have. What we need is like a new bot, right? So I'm gonna type in new bot. Okay, we have to give a name for our bot. So one more time. All right, we got all the details. So this is a token we need to fill up over here. Let's just copy the token, paste it over here, and we need to get a chat ID too. For that, we just need to open up the chat. This is the one. We can hit start. Try to send a hi message and see if you are getting something. If you're not getting something, let's just try to auto get. Okay, if you're still not getting anything, you can just go to this particular URL. Make sure you give your bot token after bot. Just mention your token over here and get updates. You hit this API, it just says okay, true result. Okay, let me just send a couple more messages. Okay, so I got all the messages, and this one is gonna be the ID that we are looking for. So if I do that, okay, this is a chat ID. So just copy this one and you can put it over here. Once you're done with that, you can put all the things as default. Or if you just need to, if you want like a custom message template, you can like turn this on and give your own template, let it be in HTML or whatever format that you have, and give it over here. But for this demo purpose, I'm gonna just keep it default. Gonna skip all these settings, and let me just test. Let's see if you are getting any message. Okay, it says sent successfully. And if you go back to the Uptime, the bot, there you go, TG Noti, testing, not T, testing. Okay, so that's it. We can save it right now. And once it is saved, let's just see this in action. And for that, I'm just gonna stop my server, so yeah, we'll get a real-time peek into how the notification looks like. Okay, we started getting messages. There you go. It says empty sleeping, container state is exited, which means it's really down, and that's cool, right? And there's one more setting you need to look at, which is this one. So right now it says 0, which means when it is down for the first time, we get notified, and even if it gets keep on getting red blocks, we won't get notified again. But if you want to get notified consecutively, every single red block that you're getting, you just need to change it to 1. And if I save, I'll be getting notified until this whole thing turns to green. Until green blocks start to pop up, which basically means until my server is up and no more issues, I will keep getting notification. And you can modify the setting. If I just give it a 3, what happens is I get notified in the first value, and I will just wait for 2 more blocks, and on the 3rd block I get notified again. So that is how this setting works. If you want your Uptime Kuma to keep on bugging you until the container is up and running, until the things problems have been sorted, you can keep it 1. If you want to have a peace of mind, you don't really care about your container, you just can keep it 0. Okay, we'll just notify you once and it will forget about it. Let's just keep it 1 because I want to be notified every single time a red block pops up consecutively. Save it. And if you want to stop the notifications, you need to spin up the server, right? Let's just start. The moment the block starts to pop up as yellow, we stop getting notification because the container is not down anymore. It is spinning up. And it will slowly start to turn into green. Okay, you got it, green. Now when we go back to Uptime Kuma, this is how the dashboard looks like. We have all the information over here, which gives us a little bit idea about when the status was down, all the daytime information, and also the message. Everything. You can clear the events if you want this to be like fresh. And we have like a status page, and we can like add a new status page. I'm gonna give it like Aaron. If you know. Status, I'm gonna give it like image check, and I can tap in next. So I can add a group if I want, and I'm gonna leave it as it is. I'm gonna add a monitoring, which is the only monitoring that we have. And description, checking, image, custom footer, we can give anything. I'm gonna say I use sleeping. Okay, and then I can save. So this is gonna be my custom page. This is gonna this is how it's gonna look like. I can go back to the dashboard, and once I'm on my dashboard, I can see the custom page, which gives us like an overview about the different monitoring services I have. I can add a couple other services if I have monitoring set up for them, but right now for this video I only have like image being set up, so that's the reason why we only have like one service here. And you can see when it was last updated, when the next refresh is gonna be, and all that kind of stuff. So to get a complete overview about like what the status is and all of that, this is pretty helpful. And yeah, that's pretty much about Uptime Kuma. You can have like multiple monitoring thing being set up, if you have different containers up and running in your VM, I can maybe add monitors for all these containers too. I mean, in case if my Postgres is down or my machine learning container is down, I'll get notified, right? Or maybe if I'm thinking of hosting more open source software like Nextcloud or Jellyfin in the future, I can add monitors for that. So in any circumstance, if it goes down, I'll get notified. And that will be it about Uptime Kuma. And if you're someone who's experienced hosting Uptime Kuma before, just let me know in the comments how it went for you. Were you facing any issues? If you have any tips or tricks, comment that down, so it will be helpful for those who are thinking of hosting Uptime Kuma, and also for me as well. And that's it. I'll see you in the next.